Live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the United Road. Very special episode this week. But before we get into it, there's something really important that I think needs to be said. Unfortunately, some really awful news came to us. Oh, there it is. Some really awful news came to us. I saw yesterday online. As you all know, I go on Stratford Paddock sometimes, and for quite a few videos that I did, a good mate and a really good, genuinely good guy. Unfortunately passed away way too young. It was a massive shock to me and a massive shock to the community. Um, and I think ultimately it's such awful news. Everybody, I want you to, if you're watching, raise a glass, do whatever you need to do, but just a massive, massive tribute to a genuinely brilliant guy. So rest in peace, Abdullah, and rest in peace. And I hope you're at peace now, mate. But yeah, really awful news. An amazing guy, and absolutely thoughts and prayers with all his friends and family, and to everyone out there. Now it looks like before I introduce you, Stu, we finally managed to get our good mate to join us. So shall we add him?
There
Mark,
we go.
you joined us. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I think I'm on now. Bit of
You
a
think
set the
you're on?
boat. So.
Cracking.
Yeah.
Right, like I say, everybody, really special episode this week. Like I say, we've got an amazing couple of guests on. Streetwise Stu, who does absolutely incredible work in raising awareness. As we all know, there's a genuine and a really awful homelessness crisis in Manchester. I'm going to mute one of you two because I'm echoing. I think it's you, Mark, I'll be honest, but I'll unmute you. Yeah, Streetwise Stu, introduce yourself. How are you doing, mate?
I'm very good, thank you. Very good indeed.
I think it's really important, mate. Obviously, homelessness is a massive issue at the minute, and some of the work you're doing is incredible. I'd love you to share everything and anything you can about the work that you're doing, how people can help, what's the best way going forward. So the mic is all yours, mate.
Okay, so I'm Stuart Hamnett from Gorton, Manchester. Massive United fan. Been all over the world watching United. Tend not to bother going so much these days. I go here and there. That's about it. So me actual match going days. They're not behind me as such, but it's nowhere near like what they used to be. But I'm still, United just runs through me. It's one of them things, and it's once you're hooked, you're hooked. I just don't bother really going to the game as much. I might go to half a dozen games a season if I'm lucky. And I prefer, if I'm honest, to go away to an away game than to Old Trafford. The homeless situation is something I got into earlier this year. I'd seen it. I used to be a signalman for Network Rail. Worked at Piccadilly Station for many years, and on my breaks, you get a couple of breaks per shift. And I'd wander into town. I'd always go into town, me spendaholic, and over the years, I just noticed it gone from people being in a doorway, or you kind of saw the odd person dotted around. But then I don't know when it happened. It just seemed to happen overnight. But excuse me, there was just loads and loads of homelessness, young and a lot of women as well. Um, and I'll talk to anyone. I've got this kind of curious side to me that wants to. I'm always trying to help, and I'd stop and speak to people, and sometimes I'd just give them a five and a few quid. But what I noticed was once you'd spoke to an homeless person, they were made up. They were like really happy that someone had spoke to them. Um, and it resonated with me. I thought these people just walking past here, and obviously some people have got to go to work, some people are in a rush. In this day and age, everyone seems to be 100 mile an hour. Whereas I knew that I had an hour on my break, and I started to just talk to people and things like that. Anyway, a few years ago, I lost my job at Piccadilly, and I've had about 10 jobs in the past few years. I'm a labourer at the minute. And earlier this year, me and the wife got married, but we'd spoke about it for a good couple of years. We wanted to get married at Gorton Monastery, Manchester's Taj Mahal, they call it, and the price was just a bit too out of our league. Beautiful building, beautiful settings, everything, but it was 10, 15, 20 grand, whatever it was, and we was never going to be able to save that kind of money. Or if we was, it would be many years down the line. So, long story short, I said to her, look, if we want to get married that much, because we'd been talking about it for a while, and it was getting on my nerves. I'm easily ruffled. And I said, look, if you want to get married, let's just do it. I'm sick of this venue lark and all this. Let's just get married. So I said, it's up to you. You tell me where to be, and I'll be there. And that's what she did. Fair play to her. She said to me on a Monday, right, we're getting married on Thursday. So I said, right, okay, in town. I said, right, no problem. She went, but we need 2 witnesses. So she was going to ask her daughter and my mum. And I said, no, no. I said, we'll make it a bit different. We'll make someone else's day. It's going to be our big day, but we'll try and make someone else's day. Well, that's 2 homeless people. And I thought that she'd say no to that. I thought she'd just say, no, no, I'm not having it. But she was an orphan at 15, my wife. Her mum and dad died when she was 15. Proper tough woman. And she could have quite easily been homeless if it weren't for family and things like this. She went through the system as such. So she's got a soft spot for homelessness as well. And she just said, yeah, let's do it. So we went downtown, found a couple of homeless people, asked them if they'd do the honours. We'd give them, we'd reward them as such, or maybe the wrong word, but we'd offer them something, money, a hotel for the night, some new clothes, a tent, and whatever it was. And this guy said, no, no, we don't want a tent. He said, people set us on fire. And I was like, what? I couldn't believe it. Yeah. He said, oh, no. He said, I've been set on fire twice. And I was shaking my head, thinking, oh, it's 2024. So he just said, if it's okay, we'd rather have the money. Both of them said that. So we agreed on £100 each. I asked him if we could do a video of it all to highlight it. And I thought, I need to tell my mum and Adele's daughter somehow. So we done this video. We went to the old Athenaeum, Browns, for our bit of a beer, because we don't really drink, me and the wife. She doesn't drink. It's very rare that I drink. But we had a beer, something to eat. I put this video together, like edited it on my phone for the first time ever, and I just sent it to everyone. And my phone just didn't stop ringing. My food went cold. My phone was ringing. Everyone was laughing. Can't believe you've done this. Even my mum. My mum was like, "Are you bleeding stupid?" But it just kind of, it never went viral, as they say. But it went, a few people, it got seen a good few thousand times. But these 2 homeless lads were just nice fellas. They were just, and the stories was that of just sheer bad luck. It weren't so much bad choices, or that they'd taken drink and drugs and they were comfortable in how they were. They were just ran out of luck. And I think it can happen to anyone. It really can. You're a few choices and decisions. Sometimes the choices and decisions aren't ones that you make; they're other people's. And it can happen to you. It can be that quick. And I just said to Adele afterwards, I said, I'm not going to make an effort to try and help homeless people in Manchester, because they were just 2 genuinely nice guys. And that's how Streetwise Stu became born. I was talking to a couple of lads, and they said, if you really want to make a difference, have a look at Coffee for Craig. I'd never heard of the place. I went down to Coffee for Craig, which is near Strangeways, which is a homeless drop-in. It serves a hot meal and a brew and things like that to homeless people every night between 6 and 8. And there's on average 100 people turn up a night. 100 people in Manchester in 2024 turning up in all bedraggled clothes, wet, cold, free, all sorts of different races, creeds, different circumstances that people are in. But Coffee for Craig just take them in, give them a nice hot meal, and if they can, they'll give them some new shoes and things like that, what they've got. So I saw that as my angle. For I'll be able to get loads and loads of new clothes and shoes for people. Because as you can tell, I don't stop talking. So I'd go into shops and things and just ask nicely, have you got anything that I can have? I've got 50 quid, I've got 30 quid. What can I get for 30 quid? I need to help the homeless. And then someone said to me, look, I'll build you a website. I'll get it all set up for you. That was Mark. And you can market it properly. You can ask for donations. And I was like, really? And because it just started out as that naive, and before you know it, I had people saying, Stuart, because what I found was people want to help, but in the hectic lifestyle of today, once people get home from work at 5 o'clock, they're not leaving the house. They're putting the tea on, they're having a shower, they're doing their own work with the kids, they're going to kids training, they're doing whatever. Before you know it, it's 8 o'clock or whatever. So any thought of helping anybody, even though they might want to, they just, oh, right, I'm tired, but getting my head down ready for work tomorrow. So another day has gone. But if they know that you're willing to help, and they've got a tenner to spare, let's say, And I say to him, if you've got a tenner, that'll get a sleeping bag. I've got a bit of a deal with a fellow at Go Outdoors. I get the cheapest sleeping bag that they've got. It's about 13 quid. He'll give it me for the tenner because I've probably bought 30, 40 off him since New Year now. Probably more than that, in fact. And that's what happens. Some of my old school mates, I've got loads of mates. There's loads of the United family, as I call it, that'll say, Stuart, that's brilliant. There's 30 quid, 20 quid. Some people have given me 50 quid. And I've always said, I'll make sure whatever I get, I'm transparent. I'm well out of pocket, but it isn't about that because helping them has helped me. It gets me out the house because I've had my own trials and tribulations. When I lost my job, it also was the end of that particular relationship. I've got a little girl and I've not seen her. I've had to go through court and all that. So helping others helps me because otherwise I end up thinking too much about that situation. I get down, depressed. So I'll always fight to get access to my daughter. That's a long process that I'm in the middle of. But getting out of an evening and helping the homeless, it helps me. Like I say, two, I've met some unbelievable people that I'm hoping to try and better their lives and help them a little bit. And I've met an awful lot of other genuine people that want to help. Some people have said, "Can I come out with you?" Others have said, "Stuart, I'm going to contribute to your cause every single month." So I've got a few people that regularly contribute a cash amount, and they're safe in the knowledge because I've shown where their money's going. There's been an incident today where someone has mentioned someone on Twitter about that I'm dipping the till as such. It couldn't be further from the truth.
To be
If
fair,
anyone,
we don't even need to give him the time of day. We
yeah,
don't need to
yeah,
give
well,
Troll the time of day.
yeah, well, there you go. We won't mention that, but there's there's that much positivity around what I've done, and it's not about self praise. I always have this saying: self praise is no praise. I'm not here to have a pat on the back. I'm here to highlight that this problem is getting worse, and with everyone's help, we can all do our bit to make it better. I'm more than happy to be the face and the forefront and the speaker and all the rest of it. But there's a team of people that help me, mates, Mark and other lads, the wife as well. If I go out, she comes out, and on. We're all pulling in the right direction, singing from the same hymn sheet. All them types of cliches. That's what we're doing. We've got a few little plans in mind, but it's one of them you can't run before you walk. You can't solve a housing crisis overnight, and we're not trying to do that. We've not got the ability and facilities. We're just trying to
help.
make sure that we can keep people warm, have food. Because the other thing, Coffee for Craig, it's that slapstick their approach. Not in a negative way. I'm saying that it's they're that snowed under, and it's all volunteer based. Sometimes the food that they get, they'll be running out that quick, so they'll just literally rustle something up for a hot meal. I'm trying to make it with the donations that I get that I can go to Costco. I've got a good deal with the fellow on Gorton Market, and Tesco's at Gorton have stepped up and that they've committed to a full meal, fish fingers, chips, veg, and bread. So it's an old school meal. Once a month they're going to do that, and hopefully we can push that to maybe once a fortnight or something in the future. But I can go to these places, get loads and loads of food with the money that I've got, but it'll only last a week. So the more people that can donate and contribute, the better. So that's who I am and what I'm about, really.
Absolutely. Obviously, the cause that you're doing is amazing, mate. And obviously, like you say, you're not going to be able to solve it, but helping it in any way you can is amazing. It's really a shame that in a modern day society that people have to help. Really, I feel like it's something that the government could definitely do more for, but that's a whole other debate. So whatever you are doing and whatever you are able to do is amazing, Stu. Mark, how are you, mate? It's been a long time since I've seen you in the railway. I'll be honest. But how are you? How's things? I need
He's
to
on
unmute
mute.
you. You're on mute, mate.
There we go.
Very good.
Can we hear you?
Yeah. Got
Yeah.
it.
Perfect.
So it's been a long time, mate. So what is it you do with Stu then?
So, as Steve said before, I've seen him on Twitter, and I've known Steve for a long time. We used to go to games together many years ago when we were young and daft.
Very
We're
daft.
old and daft. But, so And we kept in touch a bit and lost touch, and it's just as it goes, when people stop going United, I stop going a bit, and life takes over, doesn't it? But so I seen him on Twitter, so I got in touch with him, and I said, look, as he said before, I said, this is belting what you do, and I was sort of toying with something similar myself, to get involved in. So when I seen what Stu was doing, I thought, like, this is great, this is brilliant. So I thought, right, what can I add to it? So we had a chat. I said, right, what I'll do is I'll look at building your website because I can do them relatively cheap and half decent one as well. So I thought, right, I'll do that. I'll put a bit of time away to do it. Got it up and running pretty quickly. We added it to it, and then obviously we've got a couple of other guys as well who help. Ant and Aid. Aid does a lot of the social media side. Ant's good at sort of campaigning and stuff. So the four of us then sort of put it together, didn't we, Stu? Sort of, well, this has got legs here. So the next stage is to try and get some fundraising for it. So obviously, we put together the website, we put the PayPal site. We're doing well with all the socials and everything that's increasing. But the main focus to it all, and we're all, the three of us would be happy to background, but Stu's the one who runs it all. He's the main guy, and he's so likeable. And his passion for it is just unbelievable, and that's gonna carry us to where we need to go. But I think what Stu would admit, he just needed a bit of process in the background.
Yeah, I think about it non-stop. Yeah. It's every day. I'm thinking, how can I do this? So I've got 100 ideas whizzing around, and I don't know how to formulate them and put them in an order. Where Mark and the other two lads, Ant and Aid, they'll say, I was talking about doing all sorts of things, and they were going, Stu, that's 6 months away. Reining me in with my ideas. You need to get A, B, and C in place before you can get to D. Do you know what I mean? So that's where we're at. We're trying to think of other things to make this be a continued success. And obviously, it's not about us. It's about the one is the successes. The success is helping these people in a more permanent way. There's got to be a lot of structure. We're trying to get dialogue with the likes of Andy Burnham and other people, but you can't just get to these people overnight. Yeah. The idea is not to try and shame people or to embarrass people. That's been used before now. Some people said, "Oh, like some of the videos that I've done, I never just rock up a random homeless person and just start doing a video and making out as though everything's great." Like I said before, the main thing is to sit down and speak to someone. A lot of the time, one guy said to me, he whispered, he went, "Thanks for talking to me, mate." He said, "At times I think I'm invisible." And I get upset with things like that because he just sat there and he's drenched and he's freezing, and it's not his fault. There's a long story that goes behind how he's ended up there. How was this guy ended up here? And if you speak to them, they'll open up and tell you, if you don't mind, mate, what's your story? And do you want a cup of coffee? Do you want out to eat? I notice your shoes are a bit knackered. I've got a bit of money on me. Should we go and get you a pair of shoes? And they'll go, "Oh, yeah." And they'll say, "If you want, do you want to tell your story on video? We'll do a little video." And that's how it works. And a few people have since I've done a video, might have been seen 10,000 times. The next time I've seen them, they'll go, "Hey, people have been coming up to me, giving me a fiver or buying me a sandwich, or I got 2 new jumpers the other day off someone," all because they'd seen the video. So you know that it is working, it is reaching a wider audience, and that's the positivity of it. The negativity is minute 1%, and it's about being able to just brush that negativity to one side and just stick to the positivity, because there's so many people that are pissed off with the fact that there's this much homelessness. It's not just in Manchester, it's up and down the country, it's rife.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there is a lot of negativity around it, and I think it's like anything, you do have to just focus on the positive side.
Yeah.
So thanks for your story, Stu. It's a massive cause. Now, I have put the link in the bio. So the donations, if you go to www.streetwisestu.org, there is a payment link on there to make any donations, anything that you can spare.
Anything at all.
Literally anything. Literally anything. And
just to clarify on the transparency front, if I say this time by Friday, say I've got £100 in that account, I'll quite happily go to Costco. I might spend £70 in Costco and then go outdoors, £30 in there. on 3 sleeping bags, and then I'll go straight to Coffee for Craig. I'll put it all on the side, and I'll do a video, and I'll show the receipt, and I'll say, look, we've got 100 quid here. It's been spent this way, blah blah blah. It really is that simple. I've done umpteen videos now, and it's from my point of view, it's really enjoyable to know that we are doing a difference. We are making a difference because
Yeah, definitely.
it's to see when you go if you go down. There's people that have said to me, "How can I volunteer at Coffee for Craig?" You just need to get in touch with them and they'll wash the pots. Me and the wife went down there one Tuesday night. Was washing the pots, and it's a good experience because you can see it eliminates that. Not stigma, but people have this perception that all homeless are alkies or they're all druggies or whatever. You go in there and there's people in there. We've seen pregnant homeless women. We've seen couples. We've seen ex-servicemen. That's a big thing at the minute. A lot of ex-servicemen and women. And then you've just got your regular, just a fella that's fell on hard times. He's split up. His family don't speak to him. There's 1,000,001 different types of person that visits Coffee for Craig and is homeless. So it's a massive place and that's helping out. And we're just doing our bit to help.
Yeah, absolutely. Amazing cause, mate. We will revisit it at the end of the video as well.
Yes.
But the other reason why we're both here is we all love Man United.
Absolutely.
And what's amazing is this weekend we won 4-0. So it's actually amazing. The one thing I said about this channel, and it's a big reason why I wanted you guys on as well, but I didn't want any toxicity or sort of hypocrisy. And if there ever was anything like that, I'd want any viewers to hold me accountable to that. So the greatest thing is to have people like you on who we can spread such good things about and spread such huge awareness about really awful issues. And obviously we can try and be as positive as we possibly can about Man United, which has been tough at times, I'll be honest. But this weekend, 4-0 against Everton. Stu, go on, I'll go to you first, mate. What were your
Oh, I
thoughts?
was made up. It's about. I've been saying I'm like the most positive United fan, but my mate calls me the most stupid United fan as well. Because I've been saying to him, like, Michael, we win 3-0 today, and he goes, "Have you fucking seen us recently?" You know what I mean? And I keep looking at it, and I think we can win this, we can do that, and next thing you know, it's 1-1 or you're 3-0 down at home to Liverpool and things, and you're thinking, I can be as positive as I want, but I didn't really see this coming. Or sometimes you have to face reality. But I think in recent months, I thought we had a good summer transfer wise. I still think that there's a great player within Marcus Rashford somewhere. We've seen it.
Yeah, definitely.
We've seen it. And, your eyes don't lie. And some might say, yeah, well, my eyes don't lie. Last week he was rubbish or whatever. But I just think it's that the situation. There's talk about the dressing room being toxic and this and that. I don't know about that. I just think that there's been a culture that's been allowed to build up since Ferguson left. You hear all the stories, and these stories don't just appear out of nowhere. There's people turning up late for training. This walking around thinking they own the place type mentality. I think that this new guy, he's fresh out of football. He's not long retired. So anyone that wants to try it on, I think he's going to be able to say to him, "Listen, you can't pull the wool over my eyes. I've been in dressing rooms. I've been in dressing rooms 12 months ago or 2 years ago. So don't be giving me any of that." His English is spot on. I think that's where Ten Hag may have struggled. His English was good, but there was that little bit sometimes where you didn't really understand him. And I just think that we've got a youthful setup. Fair enough, we've got Eriksen and Casemiro, but there's a lot of young lads at Old Trafford. The background to them is even more phenomenal. We've got they reckon it's better than the class of '92. Some of the people that are coming through, some of the youngsters. So I think the future's bright. Beating Everton 4-0 isn't the best thing ever because that's a poor Everton side. But it's something to build on. Of course, 100%, 100%. You can only beat what's in front of you, and it's a start, isn't it? It's a start. Let's see where we go from here. I don't want to talk about the team beginning with L, because
don't worry, we don't mention that name on this channel.
Yeah, but what I will say is, I give credit where it's due, and at the minute they're playing well, and that's as much credit as they're getting.
It's as much credit as they're getting, and I will only allow on here to be
yes, but I don't want anyone ever saying to me, "Oh, you're biased." At least I've said it, I've acknowledged it, and that's
said it,
that.
acknowledged it, and then we move on.
Correct.
That's what we have to do at football on a Wednesday night at training, and then on a Saturday during a game, we have to pretend that we're all right with the Liverpool players, Liverpool fans. Sorry, but anyway, Mark, mate, what were your thoughts of the game?
Yeah, can you hear me, mate?
I can hear you.
Yeah. A bit like Stu, it's sort of been coming, since Root took over, the performance has got better. There was obviously a bit of something had gone on with Ten Hag. He'd lost the dressing room, I think. Players weren't playing for him.
Yeah.
And I hope it's not just a new bounce thing, the new manager bounce. But I don't think it is. I think this guy, the way he holds himself, the way he talks, he looks the real thing. It's easy to say that, but he really does. He gets it, I think, and that's what it's about. And the players are sort of playing for him. Like again with the Rashford thing, there is a player in there for him, and sometimes players need a different perspective, different manager, and they play better for them. So the Ten Hag obviously didn't work with Rashford. Yeah. The dropping of him every now and then, and criticising publicly. You had the Belfast thing, you had the going out thing, and everything. So he obviously doesn't react well to that. He actually reacts well to a different style.
Yeah.
So, me and you, Mark, are a similar age. You're a little bit older than me, but we can we can remember your Robsons and your Whitesides and Remy Moses, and then more recently your Roy Keanes and what have you. And in this day and age, you hear a lot of fans talking about people. Oh, these players need an arm round them, and some people, the old school fans, go, "He's on fucking 300 grand a week. What do you mean he needs an arm round him?" And I totally get that, but modern football is very much like that. They need a cuddle, and they need to be. Maybe they need their ego massaging and things. I think Pogba was very much like that when he was at the club. He wanted to be made to feel as though he was this special thing. Which at times I go, "Fuck off!" You're playing for Man United. You shouldn't need a cuddle and an arm round you, and for someone to whisper how good you are. But it seems as though that's just not a United thing. There's other clubs and other players worldwide.
Football in it as a whole, really, isn't it? To be honest.
So I think that's where we're at. Marcus Rashford, you can look at him and some of the goals he scored, individual goals, team goals. Look at the FA Cup final, his participation in spraying the ball out. There's a player there that can play at the top level. And then weeks later, he'll trip over his own feet. He'll run the ball out of play. And I think it's a mentality thing with him. When he's on good form upstairs in his own world, he brings that to the pitch. And if he's having a bad time, he also brings that to the pitch. He's a human. He's another fella that's might have his own things going on behind closed doors or negative thoughts in his mind. And when he's not in that place, we get the best out of him. So I think that this manager's got them types of things to deal with, as well as giving him a cuddle and all this sort of stuff.
100% agree with you, mate.
Yeah, I think with Rashford as well, I think you're probably right. And the thing is, Marcus Rashford gets such shit, doesn't he? And I rarely take offence to it because, especially with local lad and academy and all that. But I do think it is a mentality thing. I think it's more of a confidence thing as well. It's like you say.
There's times when he can't do right for doing wrong.
Exactly, but I think when you say like the arm round him and stuff, I think if he's got a manager and he knows he's got a manager who loves him and appreciates him and has that arm round him, you see a different Rashford. You saw it with Solskjaer. You saw it with Ten Hag and his first season when he hit 30 goals. So there's definitely a player there. You're right, but the Everton game was very good. Very happy with it. 4-0, perfect result for Amarim's first game in the league as well. I appreciate it's Everton, but again, like we say, we can only beat the teams in front of us. It's not been all good news at the minute, though. And Mark, I want to come to you because I know you were in the railway tonight. Is there anything you can tell us about the sort of meeting that took place? Anything that you're allowed to divulge and share with us?
Yeah, there's a few things. So obviously, my missus Jackie, she owns the railway club. She's done for a long time.
Yeah,
I did before her. Obviously, you both know her. So she works hard for the community, and she got invited to United.
She's been a season ticket holder for years as well. Though,
years and years, mate.
I know I've had tickets off her, to be fair.
Yeah. So it's like it was just one of them. She got invited, and she thought she got fobbed off a little bit because she said it was full of people who just knew nothing about football, basically. MPs, local people, just weren't bothered about the football. They were just bothered about what sort of money was coming into the government and the Trafford from the regeneration. So she had a word with the guy after to run it, and he said, "Right, well, come over to the club." So we came over to the club today with another fella, and they were both decent kids, to be fair. And he said, "Look, what I do now is just sort of try and myth bust a bit of things." So he said,
sorry, Matt, to interrupt. So what was the meeting? Sorry, just for anyone watching. So what was actually the meeting?
So the meeting
I feel like I
was
didn't
about,
introduce it very well.
yeah, sorry. So the meeting was about the redevelopment
Okay.
and how it affects the surrounding areas.
Okay.
So Gorshill being a pretty big surrounding area, and what we found out since that if it is going to be a new stadium, then it will be into Gorshill. So across the line, the railway line, there'd be like a Wembley Way thing that all go through it. So that's going to affect the regeneration of the area. Now, what they couldn't confirm was obviously if it is going to be a new stadium. They would just say, look, we're still in the early stages yet.
Yeah.
So they can't confirm that, but it looks that way basically.
New stadium would do my head in, if I'm honest.
Yeah, well, it looks that way.
From curious about your thoughts on that. We'll carry on, Matt.
Yeah. So it looks that way from what they were, and the two kids answered a lot of questions from a lot of people, and they battered him back well. But for the main crux of it all was about the regeneration and how it's going to affect people, because obviously there's going to be another extra 25,000 people. The area just isn't sufficient for that sort of transport.
Yeah, the transport links probably being the number one thing, really.
Yeah, because the tram are at full capacity.
Absolutely.
There's no train station there, basically. The buses in and out are not that great. So I think he says 60% of the people come by car at the minute. So it's obviously a lot of people. So that's going to be 100,000 stadium. You've got a lot of cars in the area. So what they're trying to look at and try and do is to do it where the transport links are going to be the main concern, and they're going to get the train station, but the problem with that is the freight terminal, etc. So they were just answering a lot of questions sort of about that, not really much about whether it's going to be a new ground, whether it's going to be redevelopment of the current ground, but they did confirm how much it's going to cost, what's going to be on there in terms of new restaurants, new bars, new walkways, and like a Wembley Way sort of thing. So that is sort of almost confirmed that that's what they will be doing as part of the whole structure around it.
Yeah, I mean, for concerns for me, for anyone that doesn't know, I actually grew up in the flats directly opposite the railway.
Yeah.
And I remember growing up there, for the games that I didn't go to as a kid, the traffic round there 15, 20 years ago was always carnage. It was chaos.
Yeah,
now there's no doubt that the trams, the buses have probably improved over the years, but I don't think they've improved fast enough because of how much the population's gone up, all the work in sort of the media city side of Salford, the flats in the edge of town that have gone up. And I don't think the transport in Manchester as a whole has caught up. And they're saying about it wanting to be the Wembley of the North and London-esque. Manchester hasn't got the structure or infrastructure that London does. So the thing is with the traffic, it's going to cause an issue. So it's only right that these businesses, pubs, restaurants, all that, do get the say on this. And I do hope that they keep it very clear and are very, very open with the sort of process of what's happening. My concern I love the area. I'm born and raised around there, so I do hope it. I understand the regeneration. The economy side will be incredible for the area. I think it'll be amazing for United, which kind of brings me on to the question, Stu, why would it do your head in of a new stadium?
Oh, just Old Trafford, isn't it? Old Trafford. Fair enough at the minute. I understand all this leaky roof and the concourses are outdated.
If it was on the same area or same sort of land, does that not
if it's the same land, if it's Old Trafford regenerated, done properly, I think Spurs, it's a new ground, but within the footprint of White Hart Lane.
That's what'll happen.
Well, if that's what'll happen, then fine, absolutely fine. But I could not be drive me mad if Old Trafford was just bulldozed and they built some brand new thing on the other side of what I don't know. I just want never. My opinion is not really going to matter. But the memories, it probably sounds like an old fossil here, but the memories that have been created within that little God's acre. And a good mate of ours, you know him, Mark. I'd call Martin Morris.
Yeah, good
I
luck.
saw on his Instagram the other day. He took some pictures at the ground, and he's reminiscing. It seems as he's getting older. And he's put some great pictures from where he sits, and he just put, "Why on earth would anyone want to interfere with this?"
Oh,
And
I
it was
think I
just,
saw that.
yeah,
Yeah,
it was just a brilliant picture from his seat where he sat for years with his missus and kids. And I looked at it, and I thought, Martin's spot on there. Old Trafford, people called it like the Lego Stadium or whatever. The aesthetics of it don't bother me at all. It's the I know that the atmosphere created within there on certain occasions is special.
absolutely.
It has that feeling about
100%.
it. It has that feeling about it, and it's just the fear that going somewhere else or knocking it down or whatever.
You take that away.
It'd take it away.
Yeah.
So maybe I need to get with the times because I've been to Spurs ground. Believe it or not, I went to the NFL. I'm a big NFL fan. Some people might think, "Oh, fucking hell, who's this idiot?" But I got into the NFL a few years ago, and this lad said to me, "I'm going watching a game at Spurs. Got a ticket." So I went down last year for one of the games, and I've not been to Spurs' new ground other than for that. And I must admit, it was brilliant, and it's still within the footprint of White Hart Lane. And they've regenerated that area because Tottenham's a rough place. They've regenerated that area as best as they can. The traffic was still horrendous. The same problems was still the same. The queues for Seven Sisters and Tottenham Court Road and all these Tottenham Ale or whatever it is, the station round there. They were still manic. They're never going to change. That's just London in general. But I could see. I thought they've done a proper job of this here. This is, the concourses that. This is the other thing, I suppose. The concourse to me was somewhere where it was just hot and sweaty, and you had a pint and a bit of a pie. Weren't really bothered about how else. Now it's like an experience in itself. There was elevators, there was tellies everywhere. You didn't have tellies on the Stretford end. You had piss running down the walls and one of some other bits of things.
To be honest,
So
that's what the boys said tonight. The lads who were there, the two kids from United, he said, "Look, he said we've always been the best. We've had the best stadium, we've had the best team, we've had the best facilities, we've had everything the best, and now we're miles behind everybody."
yeah, correct.
He said, and we can't get to be the best again without having the best facilities, best stadium, best extra. So I completely
that's the
understand
thing.
it from that point of view, and I can understand their thinking, but.
Yeah.
And that's why they've been there today to get the fans' point of view, and they want to get the community's point of view. And I'm one of the first ones to have a go at United and the way they communicate with people. But to be fair, he's actually said to these two kids, he gave everyone his email address, he gave everyone his contact number. He said, "I don't mind you calling me or emailing me." He said, "Because I'm going to try and get you sorted out, because I know the distance between the club and the fans now has been even worse than ever with obviously ticket prices, issues recently, everything like that." So he was trying to, he weren't just fobbing everyone off. He was actually trying to be positive and, try and get a bit of synergy between the locals and the club.
Yeah.
So just one more point. A lot of the trouble that's happening with it is Trafford Council. So they want to push it a different way. They're just after the dog. That's it. That's all they're concerned about. Because one of the things that they've done,
nothing new there.
One of the things they've done outside Jackie's club is they put a red route, so you're not allowed to stop. So she's already lost some customers because coaches aren't allowed to even stop and drop them off.
That's where they used to stop as well, outside where I grew up.
You have to stop them,
didn't they?
But if they stop now, they get fined, the coaches. So there's nowhere for them to park or turn around there. So that's
so it's just like a through route.
Yeah, it's just a free. So basically, it's not even just match days. It's any day now. You can't stop from Cornbrook all the way to Sale.
Wow.
Oh wow! I was going to say, because they used to. I think it was only a few months ago I saw them always park up outside the Ford garage down the road. So that's obviously changed as well.
They can't
always
do
used
anything.
to go the road from the railway.
So basically, if they stop now, so they've got to stop to let the punters off, aren't they? So unless it was, if you like Leeds away, you should jump off the back or something. But I mean, you can't. They just can't stop. So and then there's nowhere for them to park or turn the coach round and park up in somewhere. There's nowhere to do it. So the nearest place they could drop them off would be miles away.
Yeah.
So they're looking to Man United actually said, right, well, we'll look to try and do something about that.
Yeah,
That's good.
well, that's fair play to them fellas for having like you say, being so open and letting them people be able to come to them via email and phone. That's good to hear.
Quite refreshing, actually. But
There's definitely some people at Man United who definitely deserve a lot of credit because they really are trying to encourage better communication with the fans. It just isn't across everyone across the board at United, and that's kind of the negative around it. But moving on from that, some really good insight as well there, Mark. So I appreciate that.
Yeah,
mate. But,
very good.
Stu, I'll come back to you. What are your expectations for the Arsenal game tomorrow? Obviously, Luke Shaw's just been announced as injured again. And obviously,
Listen,
Arsenal's right side with Timber and Saka is quite frightening. So no Shaw. Is there a worry? Are you excited for the game? What's the story?
So I'll go back to Marcus Rashford and how I think that people deserve a chance and things like this. Here's my opinion on Luke Shaw, and I'm not being rude or horrible. There's no room in the world for being like that. But that fella, his time at United is up for me. Might be a dead nice guy. He's clearly a good player on his day. There's no two ways about that. Yeah, this is Luke Shaw. Yeah. But for me, his day just doesn't happen. We're paying him however much. That's not his fault.
No.
But there's got to be. They'll use that phrase, a line in the sand. When does the hammer come down on this? Whatever phrase you want to use. To me, his United career is over. I don't know whether it's a mentality issue. I don't know whether he is genuinely injured or not. But if he is, he's injured far too much. And it's not just. We all know we had the bad leg break, but 10 years ago. I think from that, the knock-on effects, maybe that's he's tried so hard to come back from that, it's damaged his body elsewhere. I don't know. But I never heard in however many games Steve Bruce played for United, I never heard him have a twinge or a niggle or a strain. I'm sick to death of hearing that Luke Shaw's got a strain of some kind. It's a strain on my fucking mind at times. But in all seriousness, he's probably a nice fella. He probably gives a lot to charity and back to the community and things like that. But as a footballer, I think his time at United is probably best. It's over. It's been a mixed bag. Going back to my thoughts on the game, I like I said to you before, I'm the most positive. Maybe that's, you could say, the most stupid. You'd be made up with a point tomorrow at Arsenal. They're playing well. I don't think they're anything like the other two. Who will not mention, but they're nowhere near there yet. And for years and years, Arsenal have done what Arsenal do. They get towards February, and they're in with a shout, and then they just vanish. They disappear. They'll lose 3 on the spin. They'll start feeling sorry for themselves, and they'll end up 3rd or 4th. I think we can get a point if we got a point there. And I'm a firm believer in. Sometimes it's your turn. We're due a win there. We had a good record there early in 5-10 years ago.
Yeah.
And for the past few years, it's just been absolute pony. So we're due a win. So I wouldn't be surprised. Wouldn't surprise me at all if they won. Wouldn't be surprised me if we got beat 3-0. I'd be made up somewhere in the middle, 1-1.
Yeah, I'd go with that. I mean, the thing is, just going back to your point on Luke Shaw, I do feel for him sometimes because he's a good player and he's a good left back.
Yeah.
The problem is, his leg break was probably so significant that it's caused such a knock-on effect.
Yeah.
But what I would say about that is, it's not his fault. The club and the mismanagement of transfers over the last 10, 12 years has allowed him to be the number 1 left back.
Yeah.
His injuries have been like this for years and years.
This is nothing new.
He shouldn't still be so heavily relied on, and it's not his fault that the club should have had this planned years ago because of his injuries, and now there's such a reliance on him at left back that he almost, and I'm probably guilty of it too as well at times, and I never mean it to be come across in a bad way, but there is an element of frustration from my side that it is when you hear he's injured again, it's like, for God's sake.
What is today's injury then? What is it?
I don't know. To be fair, he's not being pictured on the bus, and I believe it is, as you just mentioned. I think it is just a strain. I think he's straining stuff. So I don't know, to be completely honest, but it is gutting, and I'm gutted. First and foremost, I'm gutted for sure because I know he's probably the most frustrated of all this. But it is annoying that he's having to be relied on because the club, a shrewd and well-run club of yesteryear, would have dealt with this 2 years ago, and obviously we weren't that. So hopefully
it'd have been put to bed a long time ago, wouldn't it? Back in the day. Yeah.
So, Mark, what are your thoughts on Shaw and tomorrow?
Yeah, sure. Well, I thought Luke Shaw could have been one of the best left backs we've produced for a long, long time.
I think on his day he is, though. To be
Yeah,
fair,
well, he is. And he's had that ability. I think he's a superb player, but it's just the injuries have just took its toll on him.
Yeah.
He was out. He's been the most injured player, I think, for United in terms of games and percentage of games. Even I think he took over Phil Jones.
He played 200 games, just over 200 games in 10 years.
It's mental, and again, it's not his fault. And to be fair, the medical staff at United haven't been the best over the past 5, 6, 7 years. Anyway, have they?
No.
There's been a lot of mismanagement on the injuries and stuff, and overtraining, all this and everything. So that's probably not helped him. And his choices haven't been the greatest either, because he always seems to be available for England.
That's the big bugbear amongst fans, isn't it?
So he's always available for England, but he don't seem to want to get back for United. Maybe that's because of what the situation that we've been in, or just him as an individual. I don't know, but yeah, I think his time probably has come. But like you said, Callum, who else have we had there for the past 7, 8 years?
yeah, exactly.
Well, we've put square pegs in round holes, isn't it? We've had centre halves there.
Yeah,
centre halves
there and all that. Yeah, exactly.
We've had right-footed players running up and down the wing on the left-hand side. It was so unbalanced. It's like going back to Everton. I was working on Stanley Oil Refinery, and there's a lot of Evertonians on there. All good lads. Used to have a right laugh with them. And there's one lad in particular, he was like, pulling his hair out. It's, fucking Ashley Young, man. And I'm totally on side with what he was saying. If Everton Football Club have not got a 20-year-old at the club that's left-footed that can play left-back, then there's something gone wrong. They've got to have a local lad that's Evertonian through and through, or just a football-mad player at 20 years of age that's left-footed naturally and can play in that position. What vibes does it give to him when they're picking a 39-year-old over him that's not a proper... He's never been a left-back, Ashley Young. He's made a good go of it. And that's what we're like at the minute. We've tried over the past few years all sorts of different players. When surely there's a left-back within the club. I forget the young lad's name. Is it Amas?
Yeah, Harry Amas.
There's loads of talk about him. I think that this new guy will be forced to throw him in. I think that's what's going to happen. It's because it's that old saying. We've seen it as United fans. If you're good enough, you're old enough. We saw it with Giggs, me and you, Mark. I remember going to the game at Old Trafford, Southampton at home. I bet I'd have been 12, and I'd heard all the furore around Giggs. I'd seen him a few times, but I always remember we were 1-0 down with a minute to go, 2 minutes, and he scored 2 in a minute. And this was in the old, the Stretford end was standing. I was in the Stretford scoreboard paddock. And he just burst through on goal, this young wonder kid, 17, 18, whatever he was at the time. And that was his first proper season, that. And there was no need to be worrying about it. We had Lee Sharp as well, but there was no need to be looking to go and find, back then, a £5 million winger out. We knew we had this lad. Surely at the club now, this Amas is the new Luke Shaw. It's like, right, give him a go. And only then we'll know.
I think we have, Stu. I think now, getting back to what you talked about before, we've had this conversation, Stu, in our groups and stuff, haven't we, about the strength of the under-18s.
The under-18s, for those that don't know, it's absolutely phenomenal. Now, it's a different level.
We said it before, didn't we? That they're probably as good as the class of '92 was. To be fair, with Amas, I do fear that we just throw him in and we get sort of dogs abuse and not allowed the time. But I think if, like you say, if he's good enough and he's old enough. And I think,
look at the young right back at Liverpool. I forget his name.
Conor Bradley. Yeah. I mean, I think it will happen, and I think with the financial issues at the club, and of course, I've not wanted to really talk about it tonight because it's just frustrating the entire fan base with the ticket prices. But with the financial issues at the club and the excuses that they're giving regarding it, we are going to have to rely on this academy quite a lot. I think over the next couple of years,
which might be the best thing for us.
100%.
Exactly.
It's United. It's the DNA of the club. It's the DNA of the club.
And I think with us using them, it'll kickstart some careers. Whether that's if they don't make it at United, it doesn't mean they've had a bad career. United's academy has given careers to hundreds of footballers over the last probably 30, 40 years. So it's nothing to say that won't continue. Absolutely. I just think we are going to be heavily relying on them over the next couple of seasons, just because we physically don't have the financials to be able to bring in these big name signings for millions and millions like we have done
Yeah.
over the last 12 years.
I'm crossing everything that this Shea Lacey makes it. Have you seen him?
Yeah, I think there'll be a few that do. I really
Yeah.
do. And I
He's
think the guy we
frightening.
brought
If he
from
can bulk up and stay fit, because he's had a couple of injuries. I think he's only 18 or something. But if he can bulk up, he's a frightening prospect. Absolutely frightening. Some of the things he does with the football are just mesmerising. Brilliant young player.
It's like that. There's not 4 or 5 of them. There's like 10 or 11 of them.
Oh yeah, that's the thing.
Speaking about stuff.
It's not just them though, is it? I mean, we've just brought this lad from Arsenal as well, who's gone
Yeah.
straight to the academy.
He's not stopped scoring.
And he keeps scoring every time he touches the ball. So honestly, I think the academy is something to be very excited about and very proud of.
$1,000,000%.
And I think we'll see a lot of it probably in the later months of the season. Like I said, because I just don't physically think we can actually go to the transfer market. I don't think we'll.
No, I don't.
January.
No.
So I mean, and if they do, at least the 66 quid's gone somewhere, I suppose. But yeah, Arsenal game is going to be tough. I think it's no doubt about that. To be honest, it's a weird one as well because, frustratingly, of all the seasons for City to have a bad year, it's annoying that we just didn't kick on. And what Ten Hag was kind of supposed to do is kind of kick on and show Ineos was the guy, and he obviously didn't do. And now we're playing catch up. City are just nowhere near it this year. Arsenal
Something's gone on there.
Points, and Arsenal and Liverpool have just ran away with it, which is probably the worst thing that could happen as a United fan, I'll be honest. But fellas, thanks very much for joining tonight. I really appreciate it.
No problem at all.
Mark, I will really do my best to try and come to the railway soon. I've already promised Steve I will do my best to get down there, but trying to get a ticket at the minute with the membership issues and stuff is just causing me proper aggro.
Don't worry, mate. I'll sort some out for you.
Nice one, mate.
Right.
Stu, really appreciate you coming on as well.
No problem at all.
Amazing cause and amazing awareness.
Yeah. If anyone wants to get involved, that's the other thing. I'm a few people have said to me, when you go out of a night, can I come with you? I'm all up for that because it's people see that speaking to I'll use Ian. I've done a lot of not work, but a lot of he's local to me, so I don't always go into town. I'll go to a long site. People will see that these people are human. That's I have a couple of little sayings as such. Need isn't weak. Need is need. And some people just need a lift and need a chat and need a brew. They don't need the extravagance. And Ian was one of them. He just said, "Oh, he's just made up that someone sat and spoke to him, and just they don't have to buy him anything. It's not about that, but you find yourself doing that when you're there. You say, "Do you want a brew, mate, or do you want a burger?" He sits outside a couple of little restaurants. But people have, pink tea, yeah. People have said, "Can I come and have a night out with you?" Not a problem. I'll meet you in town. I'll pick you up or whatever, and you can come and see the demographic of the homelessness. There's a lot of women, a lot of ex-servicemen, and in general, just good eggs that need a bit of a lift. And I'm the face of it as such, like Mark said before. But there's a team behind us, and we're all trying to do our bit to try and help in the form of food, clothes, hot meals and things like this, sleeping bags, all the rest of it. So yeah, if people want to help and they can't get out and they want to donate something, the other thing is if I show you I don't know how to turn all this here now. How do I do it?
Oh God, don't press anything. We saw how much of a nightmare.
There's my living room at the minute. Look at all the clothes there. They've been donated over the past 2 days. So they'll be all being bagged up and taken down to Coffee for Craig. So the homeless will have all brand new stuff. In amongst that lot there, there's jeans, t-shirts, shoes, coats, scarves, everything. I'll meet people, pick it up. People can come here, whatever it may be. We get in touch via Twitter, Instagram. I'm getting messages all the time on that. So that's a fantastic little thing in itself. But yeah, keep helping. Help me to help others is what I say. Get on the website, streetwisestu.org, or just get in touch with me via Twitter, Instagram, blah, blah. And we'll just make it happen. We'll make some, because it's coming up to Christmas as well. Obviously, you've just seen the tree and all that. I've got a few thoughts. Christmas is the one day that everyone goes mad about and all that. But then after that, they just forget things and move on. Homelessness isn't just for one day. It's all year round. So as Christmas is a big thing and all the rest of it, me and Mark have spoke about trying to do something where we can get them all a Christmas dinner, and just try and make what we see as normal a bit normal for them, having an hot meal sat down instead of a lot of them will be sat on the floor eating something. This is the thing what you don't think about. Having a meal sat at a table is something we take for granted most nights. They might get to do it once. I took Ian somewhere recently, and it was the first time he'd had a meal sat down with a knife and fork for 5 years, and it brought tears to my eyes because I thought, wow, I just do that every night.
Yeah,
So
100%, mate.
just think of these little things each and every night when you're doing something. Think, wonder what an homeless person's doing now. So it just brings your world into perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to be fair, Stu, I was the original plan. Obviously, the channel's just launched, and like I said, that the whole premise of it was to try and just be as toxic free and no hypocrisy and just positive and things like that. And I wanted to get you on in a few weeks, and obviously, Mark, I obviously know you fairly well, and you just messaged me a bit early, and and it was really good. It was great timing to get you on, really, with it being before Christmas. So I'm really happy.
Well,
with
I'm more than happy to come on in the new year and let you know how we've gone on over Christmas.
Yeah, well, that
something like
was going to be my next point. I was going to
Yeah.
say, I'd love to get you on, probably even if it's just before Christmas, just after Christmas.
Yeah,
Just
100%.
because if we can raise as much awareness as possible, and sort of everything else that we've talked, I've had to be honest, it is literally like being in the pub and just talking football, and that's
Of course
exactly
it is.
the premise
Yeah.
of what this whole channel was supposed to be about, really, and it's perfect. Obviously, it's literally like being in the railway. Just a little plug for the railway. If you've ever, it's on Chester Road. If you ever want to go in there before a game, after a game, it's a great laugh. It is Is it still £2 to get in, Mark, on a match day?
Yeah, we do football memberships with £10 a year, so you have to pay £2, and it's the daily pint's £3.40, so you can get a pint for £2 if you drink Foster's, which I don't, but you can still get a pint under £3, you know what I mean? So
yeah, exactly. So definitely go in there. Make sure you're checking Streetwise Stu out. Check out Mark on Twitter as well. Get on his website as well. Have a look at all the ways you can donate. I've got a few up here as well. So there's obviously a way for coffee for Craig. You can do a monthly subscription, a cup of coffee for £5. Online donations. Reach out to Stu. Ask any question you want.
I'm open to people direct messaging me on Twitter and things like that. I've got loads of followers now. That's creeping up each week. People say, "Can I message you?" Message me. We'll have a chat and work out a plan. I met a young woman from Sale the other day. She just messaged. She said, "I'm in and around the area," so we agreed to meet in Stockport. And she had a lot of these clothes here. She had 5 bags of clothes. And we'd never ever met. We just got talking that last week on Twitter, and she said, "Look, is there a need for women's clothes?" I went 100%, and lo and behold, she's turned up with 5 bags of clothes. Absolutely fantastic. So
brilliant. Keep doing it.
Really good.
Exactly.
To be honest, fellas, I'm a bit gutted this is coming to an end because I've had a really good laugh and we spoke about some really important things.
100%.
I actually told Mark it'd be 45 minutes to an hour, and we've pushed the hour mark, to be fair, and we very rarely do that. So it just shows how much we've chatted and how much of a bit of a laugh we've had as well. Like I say, check out Stu on Twitter, check out Mark, look at his website and stuff. Any way you can donate, literally, Stu will always hear it. Anything that he can. Feel free to message me as well, and I'll point you in the right direction as well. Go on, Stu.
Well, just a quick one. What we did the other week, we had a donation of a United signed shirt, and we've done a raffle, and that's done really well. We've got over £1,000. So I'm hoping to try and turn a raffle not into a regular thing because it can become boring and people think, "Oh, here he is again with another raffle." But in the new year, we're thinking of doing something similar, where it's a high value item or something that's worth, potentially a good few quid, and it's something that's sought after, and you just do a raffle for a tenner a ticket. But it went really well, that last one. We did really well in no time. So I'll keep your ears open for the next Streetwise Stu raffle.
Yeah. Well, if you guys follow me on Twitter, I've just retweeted that as well. So it's obviously more work from them as well. Well, I'm about to retweet it, but you finished talking before I could type. So yeah. really appreciate you guys coming on tonight.
Thanks for your
Genuinely.
time. Been really enjoyed it.
Thanks
Thank you.
for having us on, mate. Brilliant. Thank you, pal.
Yeah,
Cheers.
genuinely. I really appreciate you coming on. Genuinely, really, really do. And to be honest, I will get you on again because you know your stuff. It's always good to talk United.
Up the Reds.
Up the Reds. Just one final thing from me, guys. There's two final things I should say. I've unfortunately got to go down to that London next week for work, so there is no podcast next Tuesday. There will be videos over the coming days and weeks and stuff, but there's just no podcast next week because.
And everyone get on the United stand and get following him, Caleb as well, lads.
Yeah, top channel.
Yeah. As well, so enjoy. I will see you next week. Not next week. Probably later this week, and then no podcast next week. And one final thing from me, as mentioned before, huge thoughts and prayers to Abdullah and his family and friends. Really, really got to hear that news. Every time I was on Stretford Paddock, he was the nicest fella in the world.
I never met him, but I heard all about him. I heard he was a dead nice, genuine guy. So yeah, it's an absolute shame.
Exactly. Do you know what he really was? I met him and did a few shows with him at Paddock, and he knew everything about football, and he just was such a nice guy and would do anything for anyone. And I think it shows the absolute the amount of love that's poured out there as well for him. So absolutely gutted. Thoughts and prayers, and rest in peace, mate. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I will see you all very soon.
Cheers, Colin. Take care, mate.
See you, mate. Bye.
Cheers, guys.